I'm sitting here with Steve Woolf, our West Coast Director of Content. Thank you for being with us, Steve.
Oh, thank you, Annie, for interviewing me.
Not a problem at all. Why don't you start off by telling us what you do at blip.tv?
Well, we recently opened an office in Los Angeles. So I run the LA office, and I'm Director of Content for the West Coast, which means I help get more and better content created by LA and West Coast creators onto the Blip platform.
Sweet. Okay, what led you to Blip, or what's your background?
I come from the producer side of things. I co-created a show called Epic Foo back in 2006.
I think I've heard of that one.
You may have heard of that one, yeah. It's been running for 4.5 years now, 170 episodes, still going. And in between, I've directed and produced national TV commercials and directed and produced over 100 interviews for PBS. A lot of production stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so you run the West Coast content team. So a lot of people don't understand what a content team does. Can you fill us in?
Well, the content team has a lot of jobs, actually. So content team supports producers when they have problems using Blip. The content team rates and categorizes shows so that our ad sales people can group them into verticals and do sales to big brands. The content team works with producers to help them develop their audience. The content team helps think about new features that we can build in terms of making a product for producers and making their experience better. And then a big job of the content team is making people aware of the way Blip can make them money for their shows.
So speaking of making money for producers, can you explain what a CPM is? Because that word gets thrown around a lot on Blip, and some people just don't know what that is. What's a CPM, and how does that affect producers?
Okay, well, CPM stands for cost per thousand, even though you don't really have to worry about what it stands for. Okay. It just basically means that when you're monetizing on a CPM basis, you are getting paid every time an advertiser shows their ad on your video. So there's a certain figure, maybe it's $6.50, maybe it's $8, that you make for every 1,000 views. Okay? So a CPM is a complicated thing. In a Blip video, there's 3 places you can earn money. There's a pre-roll, there's an overlay ad, and there's a post-roll. And all of those things together compromise your CPM. The pre-roll is the most valuable. That's the one you want people to see the most. The overlay is the second most valuable, and the post-roll is the least valuable, even though you still want it to get a great CPM. Right. And people don't understand really that the way it works is that those ads don't have to be clicked on, although it's great when they are clicked, but you get paid when they're shown on your videos. So the more that you can drive an audience and make your show bigger and more popular, the more ads are going to be seen and the more money you're going to make. But CPMs are affected by a lot of different things. CPMs are affected by where your audience is watching the video, for one thing. Right. So if you have a big international audience, the same brands that want to advertise to people in the United States don't necessarily want to advertise to people in Europe. So a lot of shows have huge audiences overseas, and we can't monetize those quite as well because those brands aren't buying there. Right. One place that we are doing really well internationally is in the United Kingdom. So our ad sales over there is doing really well. If you have an audience that's in the UK, then you're probably getting an excellent CPM. Right.
And then there's also sometimes confusion about why CPMs vary. Can you give us a clue to that?
Yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on engagement rates. So
those are important.
Yeah, it's incredibly important. In the Blip dashboard, in your statistics, there's a section called engagement, and you can see a curve, and it shows you where people are stopping to stop watching your video. And if they aren't getting far enough into the video to see the overlay, then you're probably not getting a very good CPM. And the things you can do to make that better is, try and make a more engaging show, try to structure it a little bit better, give them a reason to stay with the show as long as possible, because if they get all the way to that post-roll, you're getting a very, very good CPM. And the other factor, like I mentioned, was international audience.
Right. Perfect. Okay. So if you could give producers just one piece of advice, what would that one piece of advice be?
Yeah, I mean, I think the mantra is to think of your show like a business and not necessarily as a production, a one-off. Because when you think in terms of production, you're worried about your crew, you're worried about what equipment you have, and that doesn't really help you build a business. And the people who really succeed with their shows online are the ones who think of it like a business. They think about how they're going to market and promote, they think about where they're going to distribute their show, they think about how they're going to make it sustainable.
That's what I was going to say,
right.
Sustainability.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. So if you are shooting 6 episodes, they may look amazing and the content may be awesome, but it's so hard to make people aware of that show that by the time people are finding it, you're at the run of your 6 episodes, the end of your run. So sustainability is really important.
Okay. Perfect. Some very sage advice from our very own Steve Woolf. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I will let you get back to work. Thanks.
Blip on blip.
Woo!